Hello, my name is Andy from flanker.com, and today I'm going to show you how to use the texture animator to bake out static images. Not necessarily an animated texture, but just use it to create your mod structure for you so you don't have to worry about writing a single config ever again. Maybe reading a config or two, never writing it again. So this is a golden tool right now. So I'm going to switch back over to the small scene, and we're going to continue off in this project, the file that we've been working on. And I'm going to make a couple of adjustments because I don't really like how scattered this texture still is. So if I click on this object, and I can change the texture for it, but if you've already gone a step ahead of yourself and you've joined them all together like this, so it becomes one object again. I'm going to rename it back to the name it originally was, if it lets me. It's not going to let me, but anyway, I'm going to just call it file because it doesn't need to be anything fancy name like that. So if you've already connected it back together, you've got separate selections like this. You click on this material tab down here and scroll to the top of it. You can individually go through each texture. Pardon me, I've drinking a lot of tea and it's been giving me a lot of burps. But anyway, you go through the textures. I want to modify this one here. So if it's like this, for example, you press the tilde key and frame all, and you go back to there. So I've lost this one again. So frame all, and now I want to change the scale of this one so it fits it, so it's more stretched and more bigger. So I select all three of these again, and I'll just make it like that. I'll change the location of it maybe. That'll make it a bit better. Not a Y rotation, a Z rotation. Location, sorry. So I'll do that and maybe scale it down a bit. Yeah, that looks a lot better. That looks like it says something it shouldn't say, but it's okay. We'll go with it. So this is the texture we're going to bake out now. So we've got our model. We don't know what our hidden selections are. So we're going to, first of all, actually, we're going to go through the texture animator. So click on this tool here, the tools tab. It's literally just a spanner and a screwdriver. We're going to go through here. So where it says mod folder name, this is inside your P drive, where your mods and stuff go, like the DayZ data. This is going to be the folder name inside of there. So you can create one folder name. So I'm going to create for this one flanker underscore tutorial underscore skins. And then I can keep creating multiple skins inside that one mod. So that'll become the PBO rather than having a PBO for each individual skin that you make. So this is going to be your folder that you use for all your skins. Not necessarily, you might work for different servers. So server 1, server 2, well, not like that, but do you know what I mean? Just each server has their own mod folder basically. So your name, this will be inside of the credits part of the not the credit part, the author part of the config. So obviously mine is flanker. And the new mod class name, what should we call this gun? So this isn't the display name, this is the class name when you spawn it in or when you put it in the trader config and stuff. So I'm just going to call this one the comic file. I'm going to call it that. So comic underscore file. Like so the original class name, this is where we need to go and look inside of the file's config. So I don't have that open right now, so I'm going to go to the P drive again where I got it from. You might get it from your mod folder where you got your mod from, like the server pack, but we've got to find the where you got it from. So mine will be in weapons, firearms, the FAL, and then it'll be in this config here. So I click on config and I scroll down. You can see the file base. This is the rifle base, but if I minimize this one and go to the next one, you can see file is the one that you spawn in. So do you know when you go to your object spawner in DayZ, if you try to spawn file base, it won't let you spawn it. It'll be all broken and weird. But you'll be able to spawn FAL. So you want to look for the one that you can spawn and get that class name. So I'm going to copy that and go over to this and put that in the original class name. And the item display name, this is the clean name that when you look at the object, that's what you see. So I'm going to call this one the comic book file. Yep, item description, do whatever. I'm just going to put designed for a tutorial. And the required add-ons. So this was part of a mod pack, for example, like say it's part of pit stop weapons, you'd put in quotations pit stop underscore weapons because it's a required add-on. So if the server owner tries to load your PBO and they don't have pit stop, the gun won't load anyway. They'll be like, you've just sent me a broken PBO. But this will let them know that they need that PBO to be able to see the skin, to see the object, because you're not stealing the PBO, you're not stealing the P3D, sorry. You're piggybacking off of someone else's mod, but you're just reskinning it. So with that there, but this one isn't pit stop, this is DayZ weapons, I believe. So if you look inside the original config, you can see here, look, required add-ons. So I'm just going to copy both of these actually, but I'm going to put them on one line because that's how it works in the model, in the animator in here. It's just one line, so I'll paste it in there. And then as for the hidden selections, this sometimes can be very difficult. But I'm going to go back to the config. I'm going to expand the base version of it. I'm going to scroll through until we see the hidden selections. So we've got a simple hidden selections. It's not there. And I'm assuming it's not in here. So we're going to have to find where the texture is applied. This could be a bit more complex than it needs to be. This one doesn't have it either. Does this not have a different texture applied to it? No, it doesn't. All right, so we're going to open this P3D inside of Object Builder, and we're inside of Eliteness. That's another tool that we installed. So Eliteness. This came in when you installed Makiro's tools. So we're going to locate this folder here. Open. Right, so open. Oh, this one, sorry, the mlod. Double click it and then go into the mlods. Go through each of these until you find one that's got the hidden selections. And I think I've broken it. I've got way too much stuff going on down here if you haven't noticed. So I think I broke my computer. There we go, right, so it's camo by the looks of it. Or it's either camo or Zabitech for vanilla guns. I'm going to go with this. Zabitech. No, I'm going to go with camo. Because camo sounds more like this. Most likely that one. So we're going to go back to Blender. And for hidden selections, we're going to go add and put camo in there. And then foul. And then because we're not making an animated texture, this is a static one, you just want one frame set here. And the FPS is just irrelevant because there's only one frame. So the Fresnel, this is how the reflections look. It's quite a complex maths thing. So I made a web page where you can compare the different Fresnels. It's not very tidy web page. So this is what it looks like in Blender. With a default Fresnel, or Fresnel, whatever you want to call it, this is what it looks like. With the golden one, it makes it all gold. The acrylic, it makes it a bit more shiny and less shiny on like the wooden surfaces. Quartz and so on. This one looks very dull, but it's still got a little bit of shine to the metal. This is water. Nylon. So just scroll through until you find one that you think would look good. So like this one here, this air. This would be good for like clothing and stuff because you don't have reflection on your clothing. It will look more natural. So I'm just going to go with... I'm trying to find a good one now, actually. I'm going to go with... In fact, I'm just going to go with default, the default one. It's very shiny on wooden parts, but it's fine. It's fine for now. So I'm going to go with the default one. I'm going to uncheck alpha because we're not working with transparency, but we want the color. So if we expand this, you can read it a bit better. You've got the color, the no HQ, which is the bumpy texture to it. So just see how it like bumps out of the gun. So you want this one. The SMDI is the reflection values, like what parts are reflective, what parts aren't. And emissions are if this glows at all, which this texture doesn't glow, so we don't need the emission one. And then advanced render settings. This is, so if you're using like a smart material that needs to render for quite a while to actually display anything really nice, so like edge detection, edge wear, sorry, you want to set this up to like 1 minute plus. So for this one, there's not much detail. Well, there is a little bit of detail in the normals actually. So I'll set this to a 30-second render. So what this does is for each hidden selection, it will take 30 seconds to render each of these. So I've got a color, a NoHQ, and an SMDI. So that's 30 times 3. It's 90 seconds are going to take in total. And the bake margin, let me show you this. So in UV editing, if you select your model and press A, oh dear, what the hell's happened here? What have I got that's doing this? That should not be overlapping like that. Oh, it's not overlapping, it's just got this stupid ass texture behind it. My bad. So just see how it's got these edges like this, like where they're really close together. Like you don't want to set the margin too high because the margin will extend outside of these little islands. So like this part of the gun, for example, this one, it will extend that by 5 pixels in this case. So if it's a 2K image, 5 pixels on that should be fine. It shouldn't overlap to this one. But Joe, with clothing, for example, like the edges are so far apart from each other, you need to crank them up, or else you'll get like transparent lines on like the seams and where the textures end. It's a very strange one with clothing, but with clothing, if you set up to around like 10 to 15, you should be okay. But with this gun, for example, of how close these are, I'm gonna just leave it at 3. Maybe I'll set it to 3 because it's very well. It's a very good unwrap. So go back to our shading tab. You don't need to go into there unless you're having issues with transparent like seams and stuff on the texture. So the bake margin, I'm going to set this to 3. And with all that set, just double check. We've got the flanker skins to, let me just make sure that folder's in my P drive. It might not be in the P drive. No, it's not in there. So it will create the folder for me. Like if I put this, oh God. If I put this over here, folder there, and go back to my shading tab, if I can find it. Shading. There we go. So I got our shading tab set up. Sorry, that's not even important. So we've got all this set up. It's going to create a new folder called tutorials, flanker tutorial skins. And inside of that folder, it's going to create a new folder called comic foul. And that's where it will put the baked images and the configs and the script. So I'm going to click generate mod. And this button will remain blue while it's baking, while it's creating the images. So do not click that blue button or it might crash your Blender. So I'm going to keep this folder here open so we can watch as it generates the new file. So if I click generate mod now, give it just 1 second, see it's created the folder. Inside of the folder it's created a config. And the config's all written out for you. This is the actual mod folder structure config. So it lets you read it as a mod. Let me minimize that and go into the comic file. As you can see, it's created a config, an RV mat, and it's already created the color image. Let's have a look at this, make sure none of the things are overlapping. It's crazy, that texture, it's hurting my eyes. But I think it should be okay. Yeah, because there's still black lines in between certain parts. Certain parts like this do overlap a little bit. So maybe I could lower the bake margin if it makes it look a bit scruffy in the game. But for now, that color image looks pretty damn decent. No HQ. So you can see the bumps. It's going to bump out like crazy on the model. And then there's a SMDI. I think that's already baked really quick. So what that time limit is if it's already rendered a really clear quality before it gets to that 30 seconds, it won't bother trying anymore. It won't create any more samples. So as you can see with this as well, look, you can see where certain parts of the model are shinier. So you've got your SMDI. It's created everything for you. It's created your config with all the links to the textures, to the RV mat, with the hidden selections, the names, everything's all created. We simply need to, I'm going to save this actually. I'm going to close this and I'm going to try and test it straight away. So save as. I'll put it in my P drive just so I don't lose it. I'll save it here. What is this called? This comic file. So save. And close all this stuff I've got open. I didn't even close Blender, I was meant to close it. There we go. So now we go to our PBO project, which we set up earlier on in the previous tutorials. So now your mod folder, you got to select where you want the mod folder to output to and the source folder. So first we'll set the source folder, which is your P drive, and then this folder here. So select it. So that's created. And my mod folder output you can save this where your PBOs will get saved to. So you can save it to your desktop, to a folder like that, but I like to save it directly to my test server. So I've got a test server set up in my Steam apps folder. Oh, the wrong one. Wait, I've got app data. No, workshop. I'll just go this way, it's quicker. So I've got my DayZ server, my flanker mods, and add-ons select folder. I'm not sure if I need the add-ons one selected actually. Let me change that back just to flanker mods select folder, because it'll create the add-ons folder for me. So that's all set up. Let me just double check the setup. It's set to DZSA. It crunches the PNGs to PAAs for me. So I click crunch now. I got an error. Oh, so this is another couple of settings that I need to change because I reinstalled this. You also get stupid sounds. I'm sorry if you can hear that. Let's change the sound setup actually real quick, because I really don't like that. Completion sounds. Click on. That's the sound it does when it completes. So if I click win sound, I've got it in my downloads. Just a simple quiet sound, success, and error. So now it's just that's a complete, and then that's the error. So I'm happy with that now. So we need to go to our warnings and errors, and because foul is, hang on, let me see what the actual error was, because I can't read it. There we go. So it's preserved for defines. So the class name itself, I can't use it. So if I go to find this one here, preserve for defines, if I double check it, it disables that check. So now it should let me crunch that. There you go. Compiled crunch. And if I go to my test server now, it should, in theory, load in the game. Ignore that. I haven't put code locks on my server yet. But yeah, hopefully this is helping you out a lot. I don't like these little short parts here. So if you've enjoyed this tutorial, I'm going to ask you now if you could like it and hit that subscribe button as well, because this isn't the end of the tutorials. This is just this one in specifically how to use these tools. I still have other tools that I need to cover, so there'll be another video on that as well. So each tool will still be covered, but as a playlist, it'll create a whole structure of a mod that you can follow along to, rather than just looking at it and saying, okay, I know how to use it, but I can't use it with what I'm doing right now. So with these little tutorials that I'm doing, these little guides, these playlists, should help you out a lot better. So now if I go to my DayZ, so my server's running, it didn't get no errors or anything. Servers, flanker test server, and set up mods and join. So what this has done up while it's loading, actually I'll show you in my Steam folder. So if I go back to my, not workshop, but go to my DayZ folder, go upper folder to my server. So in my flanker mods, I just created the tutorials for this one here. It creates the PBO for you. So this PBO is ready to send to your client. So say if a server owner just paid you to make some skins, you use this animator, it creates a PBO for you. You can send this directly over to the server admin. I still recommend you test it first. That's why I have a test server, so I can test things and make sure it works perfectly. So while this takes forever to load in, I'm going to try and figure something else to talk about. Join the Discord. Sorry, would you like to join my Discord? Because if you do want to join my Discord, the link will be in the video description. Okay, so that's a different one that I tried to make. Let me drop that. So then we go to my admin tools, object spawner. So as I was saying before, the FAL, as you can see, you don't have the foul base because you can't spawn it in. It's foul. That's a spawnable one. So if I click on my comic foul and spawn on self, moment of truth, did it work? Or did I just fail on a video? There you go, look. It kind of worked. Not bad to say. I've not really done any revisions of this mod. I'll take all this stuff off actually. Yeah, so you can see from Blender to DayZ, as with a default, it didn't really give much reflections. A lot can be changed, but the premise is there. My Discord is also there for help if you need anything. And as you can see, the display name and the description of the item as well. And it should shoot. Yes, it does shoot. So let's have one more look at it now. It's got all this stuff taken off of it. So there's that compared to how it looked in Blender. I think it's pretty darn close. I could do with turn the reflections up. It's all trial and error, but the baseline of it usually comes out pretty good. This is a bit more advanced with the... I don't know what I'm talking about. I really want to wrap this video up now because I need to go for a wee. So I hope to God this has helped you. If it has, leave a like. And if you haven't followed along and you want to follow along now, the playlist will be at the side of me now, ready to click on. You can start from the beginning of this playlist. And thank you again for watching. I hope I haven't drained you too much for this last 20 minutes. But there'll be more videos to come. So I'll see you in the next couple of videos. Or I'll see you on my Discord. I'm there pretty much 24 hours a day. So stay safe, guys, and happy modding. I shall speak to you soon. I don't know how to say goodbye. Goodbye.